Welcome, FinTech Talkers, to another edition of the FinTech Talk Show. I'm your host, Patty. My guest today is Adam Hughes, CEO of Amount, a Banktech company helping financial institutions enhance the digital consumer experience. Adam is an industry veteran and has the pulse on where the puck is going, the financial puck, or the FinTech puck, or the Banktech puck. Welcome, Adam, to the FinTech Talk Show.
Thanks, Patty. Thrilled to be here.
Great. Before we get into Amount and what you're building, can you tell us a little bit about yourself? Also, anything you want to share that you're passionate about outside of work?
Yeah, really excited to be here. So overall, Adam Hughes, CEO of Amount. My background, I've been in quote unquote fintech for a long time. I was an early employee at a company called Innova. I joined Innova in 2006 as their 40th employee. It's now a publicly traded company. Innova was a direct-to-consumer lending company. And it's really my first introduction to what it takes to build a profitable digital lending platform. I then left Innova after 6 years and was the first employee at a company, Avant. Avant, in a similar fashion, is a direct-to-consumer lending platform. At Avant, where I was the president, we lent billions of dollars to over 1 million customers that were looking for a more affordable credit options in that digital experience versus going into a branch. And so over that time, became experts in everything it takes to build a successful and profitable digital lending program. Everything from the UI UX to the fraud prevention capabilities, what it takes to be a successful underwriting platform, account management. And so really, had deep insights coming out of Avant that I've then now have packaged with my team on the Amount side. So we spun out the technology from the Avant business in early 2020 because we saw just really lack of innovation for end-to-end digital origination for basic banking products. And so saw an opportunity to partner with both large banks and small community banks and credit unions to really help them on that journey to provide that better experience to their customers and members. And so spun out technology into a new entity. We called it Amount. And that's our SaaS business today, which I'm excited to delve into. Personally, when we're not working, which certainly I put in a lot of hours, because I'm so excited about what we're building here. I have 2 young kids, a 7-year-old daughter, 5-year-old son, and so they take up a lot of my time. Fitness is a big part of my life. I've always been a big proponent of at least 30 minutes a day. I'm a different person personally when I'm working out at least 30 minutes a day. Ideally, it's an hour, but I always can at least carve out 30 minutes. I don't personally meditate, but I know after a great run or a great workout, I'm more even keel and think more logically. And then lastly, I'm passionate about the Buffalo Bills. I live here in Chicago, which is where we're headquartered, but 11-year season ticket holder for the Bills, fly back in to Buffalo for a couple games a year with my brother who lives in New York and have a lot of fun. So work, family, fitness, and football is where I spend a lot of my time.
Wow, weekend trips to Buffalo from Chicago. I guess I don't know which one would be colder, but
Yeah. One day, maybe I'll live in California, Florida, but yeah, it's a lot of snow in Buffalo. It's cold here in Chicago. I'm used to it. Certainly appreciate the seasons.
That's great. That's great. No, if we get time on the back end, we'll dwell into some of these because definitely interesting. I play a lot of pickleball. That's my main form of exercise. I think what you said, maybe you do go to the gym and run and stuff, but we'll definitely try to talk about that.
I play paddle tennis. I love racket sports too.
Oh, cool, cool. Yeah, it's picking up. At least pickle is picking up big time. Going back to, so definitely a lot of lending expertise, Adam. You've kind of been there, done that with digital lending. So if I kind of go back or step back a little bit, fintech with say the Ondex and the Cabbages, Cabbage with a K, back in the 2010 or right after I think the financial crisis when they came up. And others followed suit. But fundamentally, fintech and the banks were kind of trying to follow suit with technology investments or working with partners like you. Was a distribution play, right? It was kind of smoothing the distribution of financial services, be it lending, originations, be it wealth management, robo-advisors, or in payment. Now we are in the wallet phase, but there were multiple steps or mobile payments. But it was removing the friction, so to speak, or increasing distribution. Blockchain and crypto, maybe they kind of change or attempted to change the fact it's not going that well now, but there were some of the DeFi stuff. But do you see a little bit of paradigm shift in some ways now with more than just distribution? There are the financial services primitives changing, like deposit and credit kind of merged, like BNPL is a classic example. So before we kind of get into specifically about what Amount is building, share your kind of broader perspective of how you see fintech and this bank tech, and how I define bank tech as technology banks are implementing, sometimes to be in parity with what fintechs are doing. But share your perspective on where you think we are in that life cycle.
Yeah, I think it's been an interesting decade here in financial services and banking, even pre-pandemic. I think the ability to get basic banking products from a 100% digital experience was pretty lacking. Banks started to wake up. As I point to Marcus from Goldman Sachs as really a nice wake up call for a lot of banks when Marcus launched their deposit and personal loan business. It was certainly a great selling point for our business that we could help give you that Marcus experience for a fraction of the cost. And then obviously the pandemic really turbocharged because branches were literally closed and consumer and small business owners dramatically changed. I know mine did when whether I was ordering a pizza, ordering an Uber, or applying for trying to open a deposit account, apply for a new credit card. I didn't want to go into a branch. I wanted that immediate response, that immediate fulfillment, and frankly, we should be able to give consumers and small business owners that experience with the technology that exists today. And so we really saw that dramatically change, and a lot of banks and credit unions were forced to catch up because my expectations changed from a digital perspective. And so, that's really where we focus, is really trying to help from a speed to market perspective, dramatically improve the experience that banks and credit unions can provide to their customers and to their small business owners. And we wrap that with all the lending DNA that we have, because we've been lending since 2006. We've lent billions of dollars, and we've done that on our own balance sheet, and we've done that in a highly profitable fashion. So not only can we give you that world-class digital experience that people are expecting, we can also make sure that we hold your hand and we can help you scale those programs really profitably. So I would point to, there's been digital experiences for some time, especially in the fintech world. Banks have been a little bit slower to adapt. Many banks had maybe that online application, but it was kicking off into a heavy manual process where they were reviewing things like bank statements and pay stubs, taking days to get back to customers. And we've seen a dramatic shift in acceleration in what banks are looking to provide and credit unions are looking to provide their customers and members, because that expectation has shifted so dramatically the last 5 years.
Great. And so kind of that's what's in Amount. I take it, the company you're leading now and what you build, but it starts early, right? A lot of the DNA or what the underpinnings of Amount came from your previous life too. So talk a little bit about that, and what is Amount today?
Yeah, so if we take a step back, so 12 years ago, we started a company called Avant. Avant exists today. It's an amazing business today. Avant, really, without a brand, was able to really do an amazing job and a profitable job at providing consumers credit here in the U.S. Over 1 million consumers found credit on the Avant platform. About $9 billion we lent over a couple-year period. And we did that with, again, a balance sheet strategy. So 90% of the loans that we originated, we put on our own balance sheet. Now, why is that important? We made money when people paid us back. And so without a brand, it was important to understand things like adverse selection and the right customers that were good credit risk, and really understanding from an underwriting, a fraud prevention perspective, how to actually build a successful and profitable lending business. And we were able to take those insights and really start a side business in 2006 at Avant. We called it Power by Avant at the time, and really offer that same technology to banks on a white label basis to power end-to-end consumer lending capabilities for basic banking products. We saw early success, early partnerships with banks like TD Bank, where if you go to TD Bank today, click on personal loan, it's white label for TD. They've dropped in their credit policy and balance sheet. Everything else is the amount technology white label for TD. And so it allowed TD to get to speed, get to market at a much faster speed, allows them to have a world-class platform, and that's highly flexible and take advantage of all the various integrations we have and all the new innovation that we have in the platform to make sure that they can stay highly competitive. And so once we had the success there and in that side business, we recognized that this was one, likely a standalone business. Number two, just a very different business than a direct-to-consumer lending platform. And so we spun out the technology into its own SaaS entity, rebranded to Amount. Avant transitioned to be a client on the Amount platform, and we've been off and running ever since. And so today, we have really two revenue strategies. The first one is we continue to partner with banks like TD, so larger enterprise banks here in the US, and we power end-to-end capabilities around consumer lending, SMB lending, as well as deposit for both. And then more recently in the last year, we've seen a huge opportunity to really help the thousands of smaller community banks and credit unions with those same capabilities. How do we just improve the digital experiences for their consumers and members around, again, basic banking products for consumer lending, small business lending, and deposit account origination?
Gotcha. So not just lending, so you have the deposit for the bank partners as well. So it's kind of more like online banking component.
It's been an evolution. So we started with consumer lending because that's what we had built at Avant. That's where a lot of our expertise was. Once we spun out the technology into the SaaS business Amount, we had a great traction with that consumer lending technology, but we kept hearing from our partners, can you help us with small business? So your introduction for me was just consumer. We are actually, a huge focus for us is helping our clients, our banks and credit unions also in small business, deposit account origination and small business lending. And so when we heard that from our stakeholders of, hey, can you help us in small business as well? We actually acquired, you brought up OnDeck, we acquired the OnDeck SaaS business called ODX a few years back, and a big part of that business is the guts of our small business lending technology. And so today on one platform, you have consumer deposit, consumer lending, small business deposit, small business lending, unified on one platform, and that's how we go to market. So, and why that's important is we can provide that anchor product for financial institutions around deposit, protect against deposit flight, and help them monetize and keep that customer and small business owner with lending products.
Gotcha. And so consumer and small business, which it's almost equal, or where do you see the biggest growth going forward?
For us, it's 50-50. We see massive growth in both. What's interesting though is, we see lots of clients that, they start a customer or member with a consumer deposit account and consumer products like credit card and personal loan. Then they discover that the person is also a small business owner, and then you can provide that customer small business deposit account and small business lending products. And so obviously closely related when you talk about consumer lending and small business lending, which again, you talk about just providing value to our clients, you're going to get that on one platform with the Amount platform.
Gotcha. And maybe why I asked you that, I wanted to see where I should plant my next question. So if we take on small business, right, lending especially, there are a lot of players, like including PayPal, and everyone is into it, right? SoFi, and they have embedded kind of lending they are embedded lending providers, so to speak. So there are balance sheet providers. They themselves can use their own balance sheet. So working with Amount, for a balance sheet provider, what are some of the benefits, or what are some of the differentiation, say for a small business to use the bank's Amount's white label bank technology versus, say, some of those fintechs that I mentioned?
The benefit of working with Amount, if you're a bank or credit union, is you're going to be able to compete and outcompete those fintechs that you just mentioned. That's really my job, is to make sure that we're providing the right technology to make our bank clients, our credit union clients, highly competitive to win those consumers and win those small business owners in the market, and making sure that they're keeping those customers and they're providing the right lending products and meeting them where they're at. And so that's the value you're going to get with us, that these banks that have been historically behind some of these fintechs are going to immediately get that technology that's going to attract the right consumer, small business owners, and ultimately outcompete those fintech competitors in the marketplace.
Yeah, so it is essentially a parity play, right, for the banks. Instead of building it themselves, they can work with somebody like Amount to get that parity and attract the same kind of loyalty from their customers. That's awesome.
And
Um,
this, and especially for if you get outside the top five, lots of banks and small, especially smaller community banks, credit unions don't have massive IT teams, and so really struggle to really automate and build that innovation internally. Especially for small business programs, only 30% of financial institutions have fully digitized small business lending experiences. And so by partnering with Amounts, you're going to get that out of the box and then be able to immediately provide that technology to your best customers.
Yeah. And this is not something you build in the last couple of years. This is like 10 plus years, 15 almost maybe of work, right? R&D and all going into that. So that's they benefit quite a bit with kind of the engineering and the infrastructure that's built around it. No, that's awesome. On the consumer side, obviously installments and BNPL, obviously there's a merchant component of it, but that seems to be a big thing. A lot of banks I know, the top ones, they are launching their own. I think you have to call it installments. I think CFPB wants to call it installments instead of BNPL. So do you play in that as well, Adam?
We do. So we have a point of sale financing products, whether or not you want to call it paying for a BNPL or point of sale financing. You can also get that out of the box on the Amount platform. So we go to market and offer that to our bank and credit union clients to again go and ultimately compete against the big fintech BNPL providers that exist. We also have a partnership with Mastercard. So Mastercard is an investor in the business. And we are the partner for the what's called the Mastercard Installments program. And so for banks that want to have access to the effectively the buy now pay later installment rails that Mastercard offers, we can provide that technology to get you on those rails and ultimately have you be really successful. Whether you've had experience with BNPL point of sale financing or it's your first time, we're a great opportunity with our technology to have you be really successful in that space as well.
Gotcha. It is shifting gears a little bit. So it is 2024. We'd be remiss if we don't talk about AI, Gen AI. We're both at Money 2020 like last week, and I was sharing before we started recording. So as soon as you enter the exhibition floor, NVIDIA was the biggest name you could see, and their first stable was a GPU. And I was kind of, some people were asking, where does the money come out? They thought it was an ATM, but it was a GPU. Joking, but so what's your thoughts? Obviously, AI and Gen AI seems to be big, not only in financial services, but definitely in financial services. So how do you see it, and what are you doing at Amount with AI and Gen AI?
Yeah. It was. I was at Money 2020 last week. UI and 10,000 other people. It's always a bit of a zoo, but certainly productive. And yeah, I mean, AI continues to be a big theme and a theme that we're really excited about. We use AI in a couple different ways today. The most recent is our launch last week with our press release around what we call our AI policy optimizer. And now what that is, it's a comprehensive tool that helps our clients and lenders analyze and adjust their policies with the power of AI. And effectively, it automatically reviews a lender's application data and generates tailored recommendations. So anything from how to optimize your credit policy, your pricing, your fraud prevention rules. And then on top of that, if a lender wants to provide performance data, so again, payback performance, we can also help there as well. And so for us, it's AI that actually has real value to our clients that they get access to on the platform, and it's fully auditable. You can see, hey, if I make this change around this piece of the credit model or this pricing, what would that have entailed? Fully reviewable. So from a compliance perspective as well, people can feel really good there too. So it's a bit of AI that we feel is a bit differentiated in the market today because there's just so much out there that's a little bit out of this world that our bank and credit union clients have really struggled to really wrap their head about. This is a tool that immediately day one, they can actually see value in the programs that they have via the Amount platform.
Interesting. And it is, yeah, you're right. I haven't seen a product or an offering like what you described. So trying to understand it and clarify. So almost like what banks sometimes have to do stress testing, right? So on the back, kind of the CFOs, if the interest rates goes up or if something happens, how will their balance sheet get impacted and things like that. So your tool, obviously not for stress tests, but can try different simulations if certain things were to change, some parameters, interest rates or loan offering, what would be the impact? Is that kind of it lets you
Ex
run simulations?
Spot on. Yeah. So using simulations and scenarios, it's going to provide those deep insights into which applications would have been approved under different policies, helps our clients understand how adjustments to those credit thresholds, fraud triggers, or pricing could have improved the outcomes that are important for their business. And so, it's fully within their own program, but using those simulations and scenarios, it can provide those real-time insights to how they can actually optimize their programs.
Oh, very cool. No, it's very cool. So
Yeah.
what's the response you're getting? You have some pilot clients trying it out?
It's great. Yeah, great traction. Certainly made the foot traffic for our booth substantial. And so, what you want to see when you launch something on a platform is you want to see again that positive signaling, and we certainly saw that. On top of that, we're excited about some other AI use cases as well. One being around compliance. Again, especially in my former life at Innova and Avant, I had a lot of experience of overseeing our compliance teams, tracking things like customer. There's always some complaints when you run a lending program, and so that's largely a Google Doc, historically Excel docs of tracking those complaints and making sure that have a good dialogue with the things like the CFPB. This is a tool that scrapes on top of that to make sure you're not missing anything between the cracks because of how important, obviously, complaint monitoring programs are. And so another example of something that we're doing that we think we're really innovative to make sure that not only are we helping our clients grow, but we're helping them grow in a highly compliant and profitable fashion. So two things I would point to: the policy optimizer and then our complaints monitoring tool are two things that we're not only really excited about, but areas that we've seen AI add real world value to our clients' programs.
Gotcha. And are these kind of can be packaged separately, Adam, or are they part of your entire suite?
Out of the box with our A3 platform. So again, just another value add that we provide our clients on top of things like the unified platform, the experience, fraud prevention capabilities. You're going to get these AI tools that are going to add value to their program via Mount.
Gotcha. Great, great. Um, a little bit still on AI, and I'm writing a piece on agentic architectures and agentic banking. So let me share what I'm thinking there and ask you to kind of respond. So how I see is obviously a lot of people are building agents, verticalized agents, horizontal agents, and agents are more autonomous than say a chatbot or a copilot, right? It's kind of that spectrum, right? Chatbot is the bottom, copilot's a little bit more sophisticated, but agents kind of just like a human, right? It kind of discerns what needs to be done and does it, talks to different models, usually multiple LLMs or SLMs and things like that. So fast forwarding like an agent-driven AI world, a lot of decisions, say lending, like a lending is a classic example. Today, we're optimizing interfaces to a human, right? A CFO of a company when they need a loan, give them like a button when they are reviewing their financials to say, oh, it's time to get a loan because we have to cover some expenses and things like that. But tomorrow, that kind of inferences or inferencing or decision might be an agent that's making, like a small business CFO agent, for example. So if that is the case, that becomes almost a new channel for banking services. And that's kind of what I'm thinking. But Adam, what do you think about this whole agentic? Are we maybe a little too early, or is it in the near future where a lot of decisions are going to be made by agents?
I think we're in the early innings, but I mean, we're already seeing, uh, you know, AI have a dramatic impact on making companies, including our clients, much more efficient. I know Klarna, to give one example, has come out with some really interesting data points around how AI has impacted their operation side and call center side of their business. We've never charged at amount a per seat model for our clients because we've always believed that our job is to really automate and make our clients more efficient. One of our jobs is not only to attract new clients to your financial institution. Number two is to provide that world-class experience. But number three is to really make you much more efficient and scalable as a bank and credit union. So we've never charged that per seat model. So AI fits perfectly into what we're trying to do as a platform. We have a annual SaaS platform fee. That's what we do. And so we're really trying to reduce the overhead costs that many banks have that's really prevented them from having profitable small business lending businesses because they've had to treat a small business loan like a commercial loan, and they're very, very different. And so, we're very focused on how we can make our clients not only successful but much more efficient as they build these lending programs, and AI is going to be a huge part of that. Is our view certainly.
Got it. And you have some partnerships with associations or networks. Do you want to talk about them?
We have great
What?
partners, and so I already mentioned Mastercard is an investor, and so we are again the points of financing BNPL partner to Mastercard for their Mastercard Installments program. We have a really exciting partnership with Valera, the largest credit union service organization in the country. 5,000 credit unions go to Valera, formerly known as PSCU, for technology. Valera resells our consumer lending technology, starting with credit card to those credit unions. So it's been a great way for us to validate that, hey, we have a lot of success working with large banks, that our technology can add significant value in the credit union sector as well. And that's been awesome to see the last year, that the vision of bringing technology the biggest banks in the country using down into the credit union space has been extremely well received. And then another one to point to would be FIS, one of the largest core banking platforms in the world, resells our technology, our origination technology, for both consumer and small business deposit lending to their clients. So a couple different flavors. One being a card network, one being the largest QSO, and obviously one being a big core banking provider. But the point is we have the ability, via how flexible our platform is, to partner directly with the financial institution or via partner to add significant value.
Yeah, no, that's great. Yeah, you covered all bases there. Yeah, the card network and credit unions and the community banks, or FIS, actually provides technology for some of the larger or mid-size, not large, but mid-size banks too. So, and then you have a direct banking channel too, or direct to selling to the banks. No, you covered all the bases, but predominantly in the US, Adam, you're not expanding overseas.
I will certainly be international at some point. There's so much, we've seen so much demand and opportunity here in the U.S. That's where we've been focused, and but we certainly say no frequently to international opportunities because we're trying to do what we do here in the U.S. really, really well. And so, continue to focus on our consumer and small business deposit lending clients here in the U.S. Some of the clients I mentioned TD. They obviously have international presence, TD specifically in Canada. We power American Express as a client, to mentioned, in Australia and Canada for their small business lending arm. So we do have some international exposure, but I would think in the next couple of years you'll see us make more. We'll lean in more to the international strategy. But today, again, U.S. is our focus. Want to make sure that our U.S. clients are extremely happy, which they are today.
Great. Yeah. And FinTech Talk has a global audience. I mean, we have a Middle East, South Asia, and even LATAM growing now. So you might get some queries from the globe if you're looking to kind of expand, or they want to learn more about you. In terms of prognostication of the future, we talked a little bit about AI and where FinTech or Banktech is going. What do you think are some of the big things for 2025, or what should we be watching out for?
We talked about AI. We talked about the big continued push for digitization, modernization, for consumer lending and small business lending for both banks and credit unions. We're going to continue to see that. I think, taking a step back, I do think my personal view is we're going to see consolidation in the market. The market continues to be pretty fragmented. You have obviously banks and credit unions. You have fintechs that try to compete against them. We're different. We try to partner with them. But there's lots of fintechs that are viewed as competitive. You have companies that have gone public via SPAC. And you have companies that are private, that have been private for a long time. So I think for all those reasons, you're going to see consolidation in the market. I think the days of just point solutions are gone. What we hear from our clients is they want one platform. They want one platform that can solve multiple use cases and add value across the spectrum. And that's what we've really tried to do. We started with consumer lending. We added on small business lending, and now we've added on deposits. and we've wrapped that with AI and all the fraud prevention and value add services that a bank and credit union needs to be successful. So that's what we're hearing from the market. We're going to continue to pursue it. And for that reason, I think you'll see consolidation because that's ultimately what's going to be successful from a go-to-market standpoint.
Yeah, I sense you might get into wealth management if that's where the market's going, kind of
Certainly
expanding.
on the list.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, that's great. In closing, who are you looking to connect with? Where can people find you on social media or other places if you want to give out emails or other things? And specifically, who are you looking to partner with, or who are you looking to connect with?
Banks and credit unions. So banks and credit unions that are looking to digitize, modernize consumer lending and deposit and small business lending and deposit. We have those capabilities for you out of the box that you can be live in a matter of days to really, again, provide those capabilities to your customers and members. That's who is our target client. And, again, we're just seeing a tremendous amount of traction in the market, which we're excited about. How can you find us? Amount.com is the website. Me personally, you can find me on LinkedIn. Please reach out. We'd be happy to engage. Whether or not you're looking to partner with Amount or just looking to compare notes, always interested in those kind of conversations.
Great. Adam Hughes, an Amount, a Banktech and a FinTech. If you don't know, you should know about. Check them out. Lot of technology. It's not a new company. They built the technology is 10 plus years old in different incarnations. Thanks, Adam, for being on the FinTech Talk Show.
Thank you so much, Patty. Really enjoyed it.